Illini basketball got a Thanksgiving surprise with a new commit. Let's talk about him.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports network. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On, where I continue to provide you coverage each and every day. Everything you see, everything you hear is absolutely free. Only thing I ask for in return is, if you don't mind, if you can hit that like button, I would absolutely appreciate it. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's my goal, which I probably won't get, to hit 4,000 subs on YouTube by my birthday, which is about 9 days from now, depending on when you're watching. Speaking of birthday, Brad Underwood and the Illini basketball team got a very nice Thanksgiving gift. I almost want to call it a surprise. And of course, I'm talking about Quinton Kitt, the 4-star, 6'6", do-everything wing out of East Peoria. He's ranked the number 114th overall prospect in the 2027 class and the number 2 player in the entire state of Illinois. And as I mentioned on Thanksgiving morning, while everybody else was carving turkey, this young man was carving out a future in Champaign. Illinois at the time, 6-1, ranked, rolling. Underwood has the program humming at a level of national relevance that we haven't seen in a very long time. And now we've got the first building block of the 2027 class. And it's an in-state kid who other Big Ten teams were desperately going after. A huge win, but it's more than just a ranking. It's the type of player. It's the type of fit. It's the statement that kind of shows where this program is continuing to head. And today, again, what we're going to do is we're going to break it down, his skill set, his upside, the recruitment, the fit, what this means for future classes, and why I think all Illini fans should be legitimately excited about where this is going. Again, the basics: 6'6", 205-pound forward with the 6'10" wingspan out of East Peoria, Illinois. And as a sophomore, he averaged 23 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game, while leading East Peoria to their first 20-win season since 1997. And here's the important thing. This isn't an inflated, weak competition stat line. This kid put up numbers against real size, real athletes, and real game plans built specifically to stop him. He also exploded nationally this summer with the Mean Streets 16 and under team, one of the most prestigious AAU programs in the entire country. At Peach Jam, where you find out very quickly who's real and who's kind of pretend, Kitt stood out. Not just held his own, I mean it. He stood out. That's why Michigan, Iowa, Northwestern, Butler, and Ohio State offers came flying in. A 6'6" shooter with grown man frame is going to get the attention from anybody that's notable. But he chose Illinois. He chose to stay home. He chose Brad Underwood, and he chose it early. That alone should get Illini fans hyped. Admittedly, I love recruits who keep it real. Listen to what Kitt said. Ever since the first time I went there, it felt like home to me. I felt a part of the program. It's a great fit. I can be versatile. I can defend, score, rebound. Whatever they need, I'm ready to work and represent my state. Look, if you're an old head like me, that's exactly what you want from an in-state cornerstone. He didn't need to drag this out for clout. He didn't need to do the whole hat on the table thing. He didn't need to run the process. He knew where he wanted to go, and he knew it early. His 2 biggest reasons, number 1, he said, was fit. The staff develops versatile wings. Will Riley, Kasperchak Yushonis, Terrence Shannon Jr. These are players with similar profiles who's blossomed in Champaign and family. Staying in Illinois means family gets to be at almost every home game they want to. And of course, for some kids, that absolutely matters. Also, shout out to Jeff Alexander. He led this recruitment, and he was absolutely relentless behind it. And once again, Illinois wins a battle of strong, consistent relationships. Here's where you should get really excited, though. The kid is built in a lab for Brad Underwood's system. Let me break down his strengths for you. Elite spot-up shooter. That's going to be his calling card. High release. smooth mechanics, great balance. He's already one of the best spot-up shooters in the Midwest for his age. Illinois, we know, wants to space the floor. They want skilled bigs and downhill guards. Kitt fits that perfectly. Underwood emphasizes shooting now more than ever, and adding a 6'6" sniper is exactly how you build a Brad Underwood Big Ten championship level roster. But he's not just a shooter. He can score at all three levels. He drives with power. He's comfortable finishing around contact and has a legit turnaround jumper. He makes smart reads as a passer. He understands spacing and he understands ball movement. He's a connector. He's not a black hole. This is a player you can plug into any lineup, and with small lineups, with big lineups, with scorers, with slashers. But also, the kid rebounds like someone fighting for a contract. He averages 8 rebounds per game, plays like a forward with a football player's mentality. Underwood loves wings who can rebound. Think Marcus Damask. Think Ty Rodgers. Even remember RJ Melendez when he was in Champaign. Kitt fits that mold perfectly. But here's a money phrase. Swiss Army knife. He can guard 2 through 4. He can play inside out. He can attack mismatches. He can space the floor. He can switch on screens. He can run small ball 4 lineups. He's a modern day wing archetype that everybody, and specifically Brad Underwood, wants. Now, obviously, there's areas for growth. He's young. He's 16 years old. And like any wing that size, he still needs to improve lateral quickness. He needs to sharpen his defensive discipline. He needs to refine his shot selection and add a quicker first step. But all of those things, those are coachable. And Underwood's staff has proven it can develop those areas extremely well. I think this is a commitment to be excited for multiple reasons. First, Illinois is winning in-state battles again. For a few years, Illinois had to go to Europe. They had to focus on transfers, late cycle additions. Now, back-to-back prep wins with Keaton Wagler, Brendan Lee, and now Quinton Kitt. This is how great programs sustain success. You blend elite transfers with international pieces and elite in-state high school talent. Kitt is just the latest blueprint. Kitt could be the cornerstone of the 2027 class. Illinois already has a pretty legit 2026 class with Lucas Murillo, Ethan Brown, and Landon Davis. Now 2027 starts with a bang. And here's the key. Kitt is close with other big-time in-state stars. Kids like Jackson Davis, who's a top 50 guard. Brady Pettigrew, who's a 5-star 2028 guard. And Cole Kelly, 4-star wing. Shout out Eagle Valley. That's right, I'm a grad. Now they're looking at Illinois with a different attitude. Kitt becomes your a peer recruiter. And those kids notice when their own stays home. Kitt, I do think, has NBA upside. Again, let's be real. He's not a finished product yet. He's not going to walk into Champaign looking like an NBA lottery pick. But the archetype is real. 6'6", shooter, rebounder, versatile, high IQ, two-way tools. Talk about the modern 3-and-D profile the NBA looks for. That's what Quinton Kitt is. Granted, he has a long way to go, but this physical style plus the skill foundation is absolutely there. And ultimately, this is the part where I want to just close this up on. Illinois is no longer a program that's just begging to stay in the conversation. It's a program that legitimately is a destination that develops pros, wins, hopefully one day, plays on national television, wins 20-plus games yearly. They are almost always ranked. They go to the tournament. And now, maybe the focus comes back into keeping in-state talent. That's ultimately how Brad Underwood is going to build a sustainable national power. I think Brad is doing it. And Quinton Kitt is the absolute perfect example of that momentum. Final thoughts. Kitt isn't just a recruit. He's a marker. He says Illinois is a place where players want to be. Illinois is a place that players trust. Illinois is a place where talent develops. And Illinois is a place where winning is expected. I think Quinton can absolutely be a fan favorite. I think he could be a foundational piece to your favorite future Illini basketball team. And he's the exact type of modern wing Illinois needs to stay at the top of the Big Ten Conference over the next few years. And that in itself is a massive win for the Illini. And trust me, I think that's only the beginning. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift. And Omaha Steaks make it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting or weeknight cooking easier. Honestly, it's the kind of gift that brings people together, and you don't need to guess anyone's size. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. And welcome back, Illini fans. I apologize if you're watching this on YouTube. I know I had some technical difficulties on Monday's episode in the morning. I think the first 7 minutes of that video was very choppy. Some of you commented on it. It was not on purpose. I have no idea what the issue is. I hope you're not having the same issues today. All right. So as I mentioned on Monday's episode, I'm going to kind of focus each day on a different aspect of this football team and what it's going to look like next year. You know, we've settling in now. The regular season is over, where Illini fans are just kind of sitting back and trying to figure out where they're going to be playing a bowl game. And so it's time to shift the conversation to something bigger, something more long-term, something Brad Bielema is going to have to tackle head-on if Illinois is going to continue to want to stay in the mix nationally. And here's the story. 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most transformational roster overhauls in the Brett Bielema era. This isn't going to be a small tune-up, not a replace a couple starters off-season. This is genuinely a foundational rebuild that's across almost every major positional group. So let's get into it. First, we're going to start with the offensive line. Illinois has been a developmental program on the offensive line for years. Of course, they are one of the main reasons that Illinois football had one of the up and down seasons that they did. But now for next year, 4 of those guys are going to be gone. 4. What you're left with is probably one returning starter, Brandon Henderson, and then a bunch of maybes, and it depends. There's talent in the room, but most of it is young, inexperienced, or coming off injuries. That's why Brett Bielema and Bart Miller have already started adding bodies from the JUCO level. But the truth is this. Illinois is going to need multiple starter-worthy transfer linemen who aren't developmental pieces. They need players who can walk in and compete for spots day one. You don't just lose 4 Big Ten starters and patch that with youth. Not when you play, or at least not when you plan to stay near the top of the conference. And that's where the challenge begins. And then we switch on over to defense. When you look at the defense on paper, the sheer number of departures jumps off the page. Your top pass rusher, gone. Your best safety, gone. Probably gone. Let's put it that way. Your captain linebacker, gone. Multiple other starters in the secondary, also most likely gone. Your veteran defensive lineman, say it with me, gone. It's not an exaggeration. Illinois could realistically need starters at every level of the defense. Don't get me wrong, there are good pieces coming back. They're young guys who flashed, but the middle of the defense is really thin. The edge position is almost empty. The secondary is certainly lacking depth and going to be lacking experience. And none of that is surprising. This is what happens when you're successful. Your best players run out of eligibility or run to the NFL. That's the life in the Big Ten Conference. But it leaves Illinois with one unavoidable fact. You cannot rebuild this defense through development alone. The transfer portal has to be your lifeline. You're going to need a true impact pass rusher, at least one starting linebacker, I think multiple defensive backs, and potentially another interior lineman, depending on what the staff evaluates. And I'm not saying this is a nice to have proposition. I'm saying this is essential. When we look at the linebackers and secondaries, the Illini's best linebackers are moving on. And while you've got young players returning, none of them has necessarily shown that they're ready to be the centerpiece of a Big Ten defense. At least not yet. You need a grown man in the middle. Plug and play starter who can lead, communicate, diagnose, and tackle. And the secondary, the same thing. The Big Ten is changing. You're going to see spread teams, tempo teams, dynamic quarterbacks. You cannot walk into next season with questions at corner and at safety. Illinois is going to need experience. They're going to need length. They're going to need speed. And certainly they're going to need ball skills. 3 years ago, this was a position of strength. Now it's clearly rebuilding. But none of this is free. Altmaier is gone. You're probably going to need a veteran quarterback. I'll get to that later on this week. And you need what? 5, 6, 7 defensive additions, 3 offensive linemen, maybe a receiver for depth. Same with tight end, depending on how things shake out. This is what NIL is supposed to help you do. And Bret Bielema has been honest about it. Illinois is better positioned than they were even 2 years ago. Donors are more organized. Revenue sharing changes are coming. And Bielema has been beating the drum that Illinois is competitive financially. But here's the nuance. Competitive does not mean equal. Illinois certainly isn't in the tier of teams that's going to be spending $40 to $50 million when it comes to their football budgets. That's a completely different universe. But they don't need that. What Illinois does need is enough NIL muscle to win a quarterback battle, a one elite defender battle, multiple mid-tier portal edition battles, and enough depth signings that make a difference in November. Those aren't luxury items. They're foundational pieces that to keep this program stable through this, I guess you can call it, transition year. And to Bielema's credit, his entire tone this month suggests that he knows it. This is not a version of Bret Bielema who wanted to keep continuity and coach up everybody currently on the roster. He has said openly, players taking revenue share need to prove that they deserve to stay. He said the bottom of the roster has to move faster, tougher, and be more reliable. And he's admitted that this offseason is going to be chaotic, not just for Illinois, but as we've seen, for everybody. But for Illinois specifically, this is the year the NIL finally becomes a difference between continuing the rise or slipping back into the bottom tier of the conference. The early portal window is short, and it's going to be frantic. Agents are already making phone calls, rumors are flying, and Illinois is sitting in what I consider a pretty sweet spot. They're winning games. They've produced NFL talent, and they've shown that they will play younger guys. I think right now Illinois has built a reputation that they are a developmental program. But this offseason, you can't be developmental. You have to be aggressive. This is not a year to sit back. This is not a year to bet solely on internal growth. This is not the year to assume continuity equals progress. Illinois needs an upgrade. Illinois needs to go portal hunting, and Illinois needs to swing at some pitches. Bottom line is the 2026 season roster overhaul is not optional. It's mandatory. You're going to lose leaders on this football team. You're going to certainly lose a lot of production from this past year's football team. And you're going to lose a lot of experience on next year's football team. You're losing both the structure on both the offensive and defensive fronts as well. But you do have a few things. You have a head coach with a proven track record. You seem to have a system that the players enjoy playing in. You have a rise in donor engagement. You have a clearer identity when it comes to Illinois football and a real runway to continue building down the road a national caliber program. The next 2 months will define the next 2 seasons. Illinois can absolutely reload, but it's going to take NIL, it's going to take portal wins, and it's going to take decisive moves. And if Bret Bielema nails this cycle, Illinois stays right where they've been trending, competing in the second tier of the Big Ten and trying to get more nationally noticed. But if he misses, it could become a reset year instead of a reloading year. Either way, the story of the offseason starts now. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually, getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view of the seat before I buy it. Honestly, it's faster, it's cheaper, and it's less stressful than any other ways I've used to buy tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Game Time immediately. And welcome back. Illinois dropped one spot in the new AP rankings when it comes to basketball to number 14. If you recall, they were number 13 last week. Losing that game to UConn apparently didn't suffer too badly, dropping only one spot. However, the net rankings came out for the first time this season, and Illinois is at 24. Not ideal, but apparently that Texas Tech victory isn't as impressive as it hopefully will be at the end of the season. Right now, Texas Tech has fallen into a quad 2 win. And so currently Illinois stands 0-2 when it comes to their quad 1 games. Obviously, we're going to have another one coming up against Tennessee on Saturday. But basically, if you're an Illini fan, you're going to hope Texas Tech continues to win all their games the remaining of the season to make that one victory over them a little bit more impressive. The Illini women's basketball team debuted at number 38 in the net ranking. So hopefully Shauna Green can get those ladies up higher in the net rankings as well. I did want to give a special shout out to former Illini assistant coach Alex Golish, who was named the new head coach at Auburn. Not an easy job, but watching his trajectory, now being at one of the pinnacle spots, arguably a blue blood in college football. Congrats to Alex, and you were always rooting for former Illini here at Locked On. Wednesday is signing day for college football, and so obviously make sure you're locked in right here on this channel for all the latest updates. I'm already whispering a couple rumors that I might have heard in the Talk Illini Discord, so if that's kind of your thing, please click the link in the description. Everything I can't necessarily say publicly, I do let the folks in there know, a little whatever I'm comfortable saying, let's put it that way. Also, next week, we're going to have a pleasant surprise. I know there's some of you that are everydayers. I'm going to be able to offer some new services for those folks who want to get even more knee-deep when it comes to Illini athletics and being in the know. I think that's going to just about wrap it up for today's edition of Locked On. Thank you so much for making us your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On Big Ten. Craig Shimon breaks down the most exciting conference in college sports. From the rivalries to the championship and every game in between, find Locked On Big Ten on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Appreciate all of you again for putting up with my voice this week. Trust me, I'm on all kinds of medication. I'm trying to get back to 100%, but there will be no shortage of content here at Locked On. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you send this to all your Illini friends, whoever might be interested in Illinois athletics. I'm trying to build this community as fast as I possibly can. I appreciate all of you. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.